She said girls are useless and poured a pot of boiling palm oil down my back while I held my newborn. 10 years later, she's on her knees begging those same girls for forgiveness. My name is Adana, and I'm 48 years old. I live in Houston, Texas, and what I'm about to tell you will make your blood boil. But by the end, you'll understand why I'm not angry anymore, why I've found peace, and why karma is real. Before I go any further, tell me in the comments where you're watching from, and please hit that like and subscribe button right now. This story is going to take you on a journey, and I need you with me. 10 years ago, I was a different woman, quieter, softer, more willing to accept disrespect because I thought that's what a good wife did, a good daughter-in-law. I was wrong. I married my husband Chiki when I was 31. We'd met at a Nigerian community event in Houston. He was charming, ambitious, working as an engineer. I was a nurse at Memorial Hermann Hospital. We fell in love fast and got married within a year. But there was one problem. His mother, Obiageli. From the moment I met her, she didn't like me. I wasn't from her village back in Nigeria. My bride price wasn't high enough. My hips weren't wide enough. I was too Americanized. The list went on. But Chiki loved me, and I thought that was enough. We moved into a house 3 blocks from his mother. Chiki insisted. She's alone in America, he said. We need to take care of her. So I cooked for her, cleaned her house, drove her to doctor's appointments, did everything a dutiful daughter-in-law should do. And she still hated me. When I got pregnant with our first child, she was excited. Finally, I was doing something right. It's a boy, she declared to everyone. I can feel it. My grandson is coming. She threw a big party at our house, invited all her church friends, prayed over my belly, bought blue baby clothes. But when I gave birth, it was a girl. A beautiful, healthy baby girl I named Chimaka. Obiageli didn't come to the hospital. She didn't call. She didn't visit for 2 weeks. When she finally came to our house, she looked at my baby like she was cursed. A girl, she said with disgust. Just a girl. Chiki tried to smooth things over. Mama, she's your granddaughter. She's beautiful. Girls are useless, Obiageli said. They grow up and leave. They cost money for nothing. You need to try again. Give me a grandson. I held my baby tighter and said nothing. 2 years later, I got pregnant again. Obiageli was sure it was a boy this time. She'd gone to 3 different prophets who all confirmed it. I gave birth to another girl, Ngozi. This time, Obiageli didn't even pretend to be happy. She came to the hospital, looked at the baby, and walked out without saying a word. She'll come around, Chiki said. But she didn't. She stopped coming to our house, stopped answering my calls, stopped acknowledging that Ngozi existed. And then, 3 years later, I got pregnant for the 3rd time. By now I knew what was coming. I knew she'd be disappointed if it was another girl. But I didn't care anymore. I loved my daughters. They were my world. But Chiki? He started acting strange, distant, like he was hoping for a boy, too. What if it's a boy this time? He'd say. That would make Mama so happy. And if it's not? I'd ask. He'd go quiet. The pregnancy was harder this time. I was 37. My body was tired. Work was exhausting, and I had 2 little girls to take care of. But I made it to the delivery day. It was another girl. I named her Amara. Chiki stood in the delivery room, staring at her with this look on his face. Not love, not joy, just disappointment. Another girl, he said quietly. Yes, I said, exhausted and hurt. Another beautiful daughter. He left the hospital an hour later. Said he needed to tell his mother. I should have known what was coming. 3 days after I came home from the hospital, Obiageli showed up at our house. I was in the kitchen, trying to make lunch while holding baby Amara. My other 2 daughters were playing in the living room. I was tired. I was sore. I was still bleeding from the delivery. And that's when she walked in. 3 girls, she said, her voice cold. 3 useless girls. You have failed my son. You have shamed this family. I turned to face her, still holding my newborn. Mama, please. I just gave birth. You can't give my son a male heir, she interrupted. You are cursed, cursed. Mama, stop. The girls can hear you. I don't care, she shouted. You have brought nothing but shame to this house. And then she did something I will never forget. She walked over to the stove where I was cooking. There was a pot of palm oil, boiling, for stew. She picked it up. Mama, what are you? She poured it. Down my back, my shoulders, my arms. The pain was instant, blinding. I screamed and fell to my knees. still clutching Amara to my chest, making sure the oil didn't touch her. My daughters started screaming. "Mommy, Mommy!" Obiageli just stood there, holding the empty pot, her face cold. "Maybe this will teach you. Maybe next time, you'll give my son what he deserves." And then she walked out. I crawled to my phone and called 911. The paramedics came. The police came. I was rushed to the hospital with 2nd and 3rd degree, burns covering 30% of my body. My mother-in-law had tried to kill me, and you know what my husband said when he came to the hospital? "Why did you make her so angry?" I stared at Cheek standing in my hospital room, and I couldn't believe what I'd just heard. "What did you just say to me?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "I'm not saying what my mother did was right," he said, not meeting my eyes. "But Adana, you know how she is. You know how important having a son is to her. Why did you have to argue with her?" "I didn't argue with her," I shouted, then winced as the movement sent pain shooting through my burned back. "She came into my house, called your daughters useless, and poured boiling oil on me. On me, Chike, your wife, the mother of your children." "Lower your voice," he said, looking around nervously. "Lower my voice?" I couldn't believe this. "Your mother just tried to kill me, and you're telling me to lower my voice?" "She didn't try to kill you. She was just frustrated." I stared at him, really stared at him, and I saw something I'd been refusing to see for years. He agreed with her. "Get out," I said. "Adana, get out of my room. Right now. You're being dramatic. Let's just calm down, and if you don't leave right now, I'm calling security and having you removed." He looked at me like I'd slapped him. Then he grabbed his jacket and walked out. I lay there alone in that hospital bed, covered in bandages, in more pain than I'd ever felt in my life, and I cried, not just because of the burns, but because my husband had chosen his mother over me. The police came to take my statement. They wanted to arrest Obiageli. "Yes," I said. "Press charges. I want her arrested." They arrested her that same day. Assault with a deadly weapon. She spent 2 nights in jail before Cheek bailed her out. My burns were so severe I had to stay in the hospital for 3 weeks. Skin grafts, infection prevention, pain management, physical therapy. My mother flew in from Virginia to take care of my girls. She was furious. "You're divorcing him," she said. It wasn't a question. "I don't know, Mama. I have 3 children. You can't stay with a man who lets his mother assault you," she said firmly. "Adana, that woman tried to kill you, and your husband defended her. What kind of future do your daughters have in that house?" She was right. I knew she was right. When I was finally discharged from the hospital, I didn't go home. I went to my mother's hotel room. She'd extended her stay. "We're going back to Virginia," she said. "You and the girls. You're not going back to that house." "But Cheek made his choice. Now you make yours." That night, while my daughters slept, I made a decision that would change everything. I called a divorce lawyer. The next morning, Cheek showed up at the hotel. "Adana, please, come home. The girls need their father. We can work this out." "Work what out, Chike? The fact that your mother burned me? Or the fact that you blamed me for it?" "I didn't blame you." "Yes, you did. You asked why I made her angry, like I deserved to be burned." He was quiet. "Where are your daughters?" I asked. "You keep saying they need their father, but you haven't even asked about them. Have you seen them since I was hospitalized?" He looked down. "I've been dealing with the legal situation with my mother." "Of course you have," I said bitterly. "Because she's more important than your wife and children." "That's not fair." "What's not fair," I said, my voice breaking, "is that I gave you 3 beautiful, healthy daughters, and all you and your mother see is disappointment. What's not fair is that I spent 7 years trying to be the perfect wife and daughter-in-law, and I got punished for it. What's not fair is that I'm covered in scars because your mother thinks girls are worthless. I don't think that." "Then prove it," I said. "Choose us. Choose your daughters. Tell your mother she was wrong. Tell her she needs to apologize. Tell her that if she ever comes near me or your daughters again, you'll cut her out of your life completely." He stood there silent. "You can't do it, can you?" I said. "Adana, she's my mother, and I'm your wife. Or I was. Not anymore." I handed him the divorce papers my lawyer had prepared. His face went pale. "You can't be serious. I've never been more serious in my life. Sign them. Or don't. Either way, I'm done." Cheeky stood there holding the divorce papers, his hands shaking. "Adana, you can't do this. What about the girls? What about our family?" "Our family?" I repeated. "Cheeky, your mother burned me, and you defended her. There is no family here." "I didn't defend her. I just eat. You blamed me, I said, my voice cold. You asked me why I made her angry. You bailed her out of jail. You've spent more time with her in the last 3 weeks than you have with your own daughters. So don't stand there and talk to me about family. He sat down on the edge of the hotel bed, his head in his hands. I don't know what to do. She's my mother. I can't just abandon her. But you can abandon me? I asked. You can abandon your daughters? That's not what I'm doing. Then what are you doing, Cheeky? Because from where I'm standing, you've already made your choice. He looked up at me, tears in his eyes. I love you. I love our daughters. No, I said quietly. You love the idea of us, but when it came down to choosing between us and your mother, you chose her, and you always will. That's not true. Sign the papers, Chike, or don't. Either way, I'm leaving Houston. I'm taking the girls to Virginia with my mother, and we're never coming back. You can't take my daughters away from me. Watch me, I said. He stood up, anger flashing across his face. I'll fight you. I'll get a lawyer. You'll what? I interrupted. Tell the judge that your mother assaulted me and you defended her? That you let her call your daughters useless? That you haven't even visited them since I was hospitalized? Go ahead, Chike. Take me to court. See what happens. He knew I was right. Any judge would side with me. He threw the papers on the bed and walked out, slamming the door behind him. I stood there, shaking, tears streaming down my face, but also feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Free. 2 days later, my mother, my daughters, and I flew to Virginia. Starting over at 37 with 3 kids and no job was terrifying. But my mother helped me. She let us stay with her, helped with childcare, supported me while I looked for nursing jobs. Within a month, I got hired at Virginia Hospital Center. Within 6 months, I'd saved enough to rent a small townhouse for me and the girls. Cheeky sent child support, barely enough to cover anything. He called the girls once a month, maybe. He never visited. And Obiageli? She was convicted of assault. She got 2 years probation, community service, and was ordered to pay my medical bills. She never apologized. Not once. Years passed. My daughters grew up. Chamika, my oldest, was brilliant. She got a full scholarship to Duke University and studied computer science. Ngozi, my middle child, was an artist. She got into Pratt Institute in New York. And Amara, my youngest, the baby Obiageli had hated so much, was a straight-A student planning to go to medical school. I was so proud of them. They were strong, smart, beautiful young women who knew their worth. We were happy, really truly happy. And then one day my phone rang. It was Cheek. I almost didn't answer. We hadn't spoken in years except through lawyers about child support. Hello? I said cautiously. Adana? His voice was shaky. I need to talk to you. It's about my mother. My stomach tightened. What about her? She's sick, really sick. She had a stroke 6 months ago. She can't walk. Can't really talk. She needs full-time care. I'm sorry to hear that, I said. And I meant it. I wasn't a monster. But why are you telling me this? Because, he paused. Because she's been asking for the girls. I almost laughed. She's asking for the girls? The girls she called useless? The girls she said were a curse? Ugh, I know. But Adana, she's dying. The doctors say she has maybe a year. And she keeps saying your names. All 4 of you. She wants to apologize. It's been 10 years, Cheeky. 10 years. She had plenty of time to apologize. I know, but please just let the girls decide. They're adults now. Let them decide if they want to see her. I was silent for a long moment. I'll ask them, I said finally. But I'm not forcing them to do anything. If they say no, that's it. She doesn't get to guilt them into anything. Thank you, he said quietly. And Adana, I'm sorry. For everything. For not protecting you. For choosing her over you. I was a coward. And I lost the best thing that ever happened to me. Yes, I said. You did. And I hung up. That night, I sat my daughters down and told them about the call. Your father says your grandmother is very sick. She wants to see you. To apologize. Chiamaka, now 23, crossed her arms. Apologize for what? Burning you? Calling us useless? Ignoring us our entire lives? All of it, I assume, I said. Ngozi, 21, shook her head. I don't want to see her. She's a terrible person. Amara, 18, was quiet. Finally, she spoke. What do you think we should do, Mom? I took a deep breath. I think you should do whatever feels right to you. If you want to see her, I'll support you. If you don't, I'll support that too. This is your choice. They looked at each other. I want to see her, Amara said quietly. Chiamaka and Ngozi both turned to her in shock. What? Why? Because I want to look her in the eye and tell her exactly what I think of her. Amara said, her voice steady. I want her to see what she missed. I want her to know that we turned out amazing despite her. That Mom raised us to be strong, successful women without her help or her approval. Chiamaka smiled slowly. You know what? Me too. Ngozi sighed. Fine, I'm in. But I'm not forgiving her. Neither am I, Chiamaka said. They all looked at me. Are you coming with us? Amara asked. I thought about it. Thought about the burns on my back that I still saw every time I looked in the mirror. Thought about the years of pain and healing. Yes, I said. I'm coming. 2 weeks later, we flew to Houston. Cheeky picked us up from the airport. He looked older, grayer, tired. When he saw the girls, his eyes filled with tears. Look at you, he said. You're all so grown, so beautiful. Chiamaka kept her distance. Hi, Dad. Ngozi barely looked at him. Hey. Amara gave him a quick hug. She'd always been the softest of the three. Thank you for coming, he said to me. I nodded but said nothing. He drove us to a nursing facility on the outskirts of Houston. Obiageli had been living there since the stroke. She's in room 247, he said as we walked through the sterile hallways. Just prepare yourselves. She's not the woman you remember. We don't remember her at all, Chiamaka said coldly. She made sure of that. Cheeky flinched but didn't respond. We stopped outside room 247. I could hear a TV playing inside. Are you ready? Cheek asked. No, Ngozi said. But let's get this over with. Cheek opened the door. The room was small. A single bed, a wheelchair by the window, medical equipment beeping quietly. And there she was. Obiagel. She looked so much smaller than I. Remembered, frail, her face was drooped on one side from the stroke. Her hands shook. She was in a wheelchair, a blanket covering her legs. When she saw us walk in, her eyes widened. Adana, she stammered, her speech slurred. I stood in the doorway, my daughters behind me. Hello, Obiageli, I said quietly. Her eyes moved to the girls. And then she started crying. My daughters, she struggled to say. None of them moved. Cheek wheeled her closer to us. Mama, the girls are here, just like you wanted. She reached out a shaking hand toward them. Chiamaka stepped forward first, not to take her hand, but to speak. You wanted to see us, she said, her voice calm but firm. So here we are. But before you say anything, I need you to hear something. Obiageli nodded weakly. You spent our entire childhood hating us because we weren't boys. Chiamaka continued. You called us useless. You said we were a curse. You burned our mother because she gave birth to us. Tears streamed down Obiageli's face. But you know what? We didn't need you. Mom raised us to be strong, to be smart, to know our worth. And now? Chiamaka smiled. I'm a senior software engineer at Google. I make more money than Dad ever did. I bought Mom a house last year. With my own money. Obiageli's eyes widened. Ngozi stepped forward next. I'm a professional artist. My work has been featured in galleries in New York, Los Angeles, and Paris. I'm doing exactly what I love, and I'm successful at it. Amara stepped forward last. I'm pre-med at Georgetown University, top of my class. I'm going to be a doctor, just like Mom wanted. The room was silent except for Obiageli's labored breathing. So you see, Chiamaka said, we're not useless. We never were. You were just too blinded by your own prejudice to see what you had. Obiageli sobbed harder, trying to speak. I'm sorry. Are you? Ngozi asked coldly. Are you sorry for what you did? Or are you sorry because you're dying and you're scared to face God? Obiageli covered her face with her shaking hands. I stepped forward then, slowly, carefully. I stood in front of her, wheelchair, and looked down at this woman who had tormented me for years, who had burned me, who had made me feel worthless. Obiageli, I said quietly, do you remember what you said to me that day, when you poured that oil on me? She nodded, crying. You said I was cursed, that I brought shame to your family, that I failed your son. I was wrong, she stammered. So wrong. Yes, I said. You were. Because those 3 girls you hated so much, they're the best thing that ever happened to this family. They're brilliant. They're kind. They're strong. Everything you said they'd never be. I knelt down so I was eye level with her. And me, the woman you tried to destroy? I survived. I rebuilt my life. I raised 3 incredible daughters on my own. And I did it without you. Without Cheek. Without anyone's help. Obiageli reached for my hand. Please, forgive me. I looked at her hand, shaking, weak, desperate. And I thought about everything, the years of pain, the scars on my back, the nights I cried myself to sleep wondering why I wasn't good enough. I don't forgive you, I said quietly. Not yet. Maybe one day, but not today. Because forgiveness isn't something you get to demand just because you're dying. It's something you have to earn. She sobbed harder. But, I continued, I don't hate you anymore either. Because hating you would mean giving you power over me. And you don't have that anymore. You're just a sick old woman who wasted years on bitterness and hate. And that's punishment enough. I stood up and looked at my daughters. Say whatever you need to say to her. And then we're leaving. Chimaka stepped forward. I don't forgive you either. But I hope you spend whatever time you have left thinking about what you lost. Because you could have had 3 granddaughters who loved you. But instead, you have 3 granddaughters who don't even know you. Ngozi added, and for the record, girls aren't useless. We're the future. We're doctors, engineers, artists, leaders. And you'll never get to see that because you were too busy hating us. Amara, the youngest, the one Obiageli had hated most, stepped forward last. Grandma, she said softly, I used to wonder what was wrong with me. Why you didn't love me. Why you hated that I was born. But Mom taught me that it was never about me. It was about you. Your hate. Your bitterness. Your sad, small view of the world. She paused. I'm going to be a great doctor one day. And when I am, I'll help people like you. People who are sick and scared and alone. Not because you deserve it, but because that's who I am. That's who Mom raised me to be. She turned and walked to the door. Chimaka and Ngozi followed. I looked at Obiageli one last time. Goodbye, Obiageli, I said. And I walked out. In the hallway, Chiki was waiting. Thank you, he said quietly, for bringing them, for giving her a chance to... We didn't do it for her, Chimaka interrupted. We did it for us. So we could move on. He nodded, tears in his eyes. I know, and I'm proud of you. All of you. I know I don't have the right to say that, but I am. You're right, Ngozi said. You don't. We walked toward the exit. Adana, Cheek called out. I stopped but didn't turn around. I'm sorry, he said. For everything. You were right. I was a coward, and I lost everything because of it. I turned to look at him. Yes, you did. And then I walked out with my daughters. On the plane back to Virginia, Amara leaned her head on my shoulder. Mom? Yes, baby? Thank you. For what? For being strong enough to leave. For showing us what real strength looks like. For teaching us that we're enough, even when people tell us we're not. I kissed the top of her head, tears streaming down my face. You were always enough, I whispered. All of you. From the moment you were born. Chimaka reached over and held my hand. Ngozi did the same. And we flew home, together, strong, unbroken. 6 months after that visit, I got a call from Chiki. I was at work, finishing up my shift at the hospital, when his name flashed on my screen. I hesitated, then answered. Hello? Adana. His voice was broken, raw. She's gone. My mother passed away this morning. I stood there in the break room, holding the phone, feeling nothing, no sadness. No relief, just emptiness. I'm sorry for your loss, I said quietly. She kept asking for you, he said. In her final days. She kept saying your name, and the girls' names, over and over. I think she finally understood what she'd done. What she'd lost. Cheek. I'm not calling to make you feel bad, he interrupted. I'm calling because she left something. For you and the girls. Can I send it to you? What is it? A letter. She wrote it herself. Took her weeks because of the stroke. But she wanted you to have it. I closed my eyes. Send it to my email. Okay, and Adana? The funeral is next week. You don't have to come. I understand if you don't, but I wanted you to know. I'll think about it, I said. We hung up. That evening, I checked my email. There it was, a scanned letter in shaky, barely legible handwriting. I sat on my couch and read it. Dear Adana, Chimaka, Ngozi, and Amara, I am writing this with my weak hand because I need you to know something before I die. I need you to know that I was wrong. About everything. I spent my whole life believing that boys were more valuable than girls. That sons were blessings and daughters were burdens. I grew up in a village where that's what everyone believed. Where women were taught to be ashamed if they didn't give their husbands sons. And I carried that poison with me all the way to America. I carried it into my son's marriage, into your lives. I looked at you, Adana, and saw only failure. I looked at your daughters and saw only disappointment. I was blind, cruel, wicked. and I destroyed my own family because of it. When you came to see me, when I saw what those girls had become, I finally understood what I had lost. I lost the chance to know 3 brilliant, beautiful granddaughters. I lost the chance to tell them I was proud. I lost years that I can never get back. Adana, you are the strongest woman I have ever known. You raised 3 extraordinary daughters alone. You survived what I did to you and became even stronger. You are everything I should have been and never was. I know you don't forgive me. I don't deserve forgiveness, but I need you to know that I see it now. I see what I did, and I will carry that shame into eternity. To Chiamaka, Ngozi, and Amara, you are not useless. You never were. You are powerful, brilliant, unstoppable. And I am so sorry that I never told you that when I had the chance. I hope one day you can forgive me. But if you can't, I understand. I wasted my life on hate. Don't waste yours. Obiagali, I read it 3 times. Then I called my daughters. They came over that night. I showed them the letter. Chiamaka read it silently, then set it down. Too little, too late. Ngozi wiped her eyes. She hurt us. She hurt you. A letter doesn't fix that. Amara was quiet for a long time. Then she said, but at least she finally saw the truth. At least she died knowing she was wrong. Does that matter? Ngozi asked. Maybe, Amara said softly. Maybe it means we didn't let her hate win. We proved her wrong just by existing, by being who we are. I looked at my 3 daughters, my 3 incredible, unstoppable daughters. She wanted us to waste our lives on hate, I said. But we didn't. We chose love. We chose strength. We chose each other. Chiamaka smiled. Damn right we did. We didn't go to the funeral, none of us. But a week later, I did something I never thought I'd do. I went to the cemetery, alone. I stood in front of Obiagali's grave and looked at the headstone. Obiagali Okafor, beloved mother and grandmother. I almost laughed at that. Grandmother, she'd never acted like one. But then I thought about the letter, about the regret in her shaky handwriting, about the years she'd wasted on bitterness. You know what, Obiagali? I said out loud. I'm not going to say I forgive you, because I don't know if I do, but I'm not going to carry you anymore either. I knelt down and placed my hand on the cool grass. You tried to break me. You tried to make me feel worthless. You tried to make my daughters believe they were less than, but we survived you. We thrived despite you. And that's the best revenge I could ever ask for. I stood up and looked at the sky. I hope you're at peace now. I really do, because I finally am. And I walked away. 3 years later, I was sitting in the audience at Johns Hopkins University. Amara was graduating with her medical degree. Top of our class. Chiki was there too. We were civil now. Not close, but civil. He'd remarried. A kind woman who loved him despite his past. I was happy for him. But more importantly, I was happy for me. For us. When Amara walked across that stage and they called her name, Dr. Amara Okafor, I stood up and screamed louder than anyone in that arena. Chiamaka and Ngozi screamed with me. Our girl, our baby, the one her grandmother called useless. She was now a doctor. After the ceremony, we took photos, all 4 of us. 4 strong women who'd survived hell and came out shining. Mom, Amara said, hugging me tight. None of this would have happened without you. You saved us. No, I said, tears streaming down my face. We saved each other. That night, I posted a photo of the 4 of us on social media. I rarely posted, but this felt important. The caption read, 10 years ago, my mother-in-law poured boiling oil on me because I gave birth to daughters instead of sons. She said girls were useless, worthless, a curse. Today, those useless girls, one is a senior engineer at Google. One is an internationally recognized artist. One just became a doctor. And me, I'm the proudest mother in the world. To every woman who's been told she's not enough, you are. You always were. To every little girl who's been told boys are better, they're not. You're powerful beyond measure. And to every mother raising daughters alone, you're doing an incredible job. Keep going. We don't need anyone's approval to know our worth. We are the worth. The post went viral. Millions of views. Thousands of comments. Women from all over the world sharing their own stories. Thanking me. Encouraging me. Standing with me. And I realized something. Obiageli tried to destroy me. But instead she gave me a story. A testimony. A message to share with the world. Pain can either break you or build you. I chose to be built. So if this story touched your heart, if it made you angry, if it made you cry, if it reminded you of your own strength. Hit that like button and subscribe for more stories like this. And I want to hear from you. Comment, girls are powerful. If you believe daughters are just as valuable as sons, comment, she's a queen. If you think I did the right thing by walking away and building my own life. Because here's what I learned through all of this. You don't need anyone's validation to know your worth. Not your husband's, not your in-laws, not society's. You are enough, just as you are. I was told I failed because I had daughters, but those daughters became my greatest success. I was burned, scarred, broken, but I healed. And I became stronger than I ever was before. And if you're going through something similar right now, whether it's a toxic mother-in-law, a husband who doesn't defend you, or anyone who makes you feel less than, I want you to know this. You deserve better. Your daughters deserve better. And you have the power to walk away and build something beautiful. It won't be easy. It will hurt. You'll cry. You'll doubt yourself. But one day you'll stand at your daughter's graduation, or watch her succeed in life, and you'll realize you did it. You survived. You thrived. And that makes you unstoppable. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you for standing with me and every woman who refuses to be broken. Until next time,